Anya looked down at her hands, fingers twisted tightly together. Her voice was small when she said. One of them said, "Maybe my mom cleans floors there." Maya didn't blink. "I didn't say anything back," Anya continued, speaking faster now. The teacher moved on really quickly. Like I was interrupting the class or something. Inside Maya, a wave of reaction surged, some painful, some furious. But she held them all back with a deep breath, not a sigh, but an anchor. A way to stay steady, like a pillar bracing against wind. "Do you think you did anything wrong?" she asked, gently. Not accusing. Anya shook her head. Hard. Too hard. Her cheeks flushed. "No. I was telling the truth." Maya nodded. She'd expected that answer. But what Anya needed now wasn't comfort. "Then don't carry someone else's ignorance on your back," Maya said. Her voice wasn't loud, but each word landed like a hook. Firm. Unshakable. "It's heavy." Anya didn't speak. But in her eyes, something shifted, something nodded. A faint mist of doubt began to clear. A ripple in her sense of worth began to settle. Maya saw it, and knew this wouldn't be the last time. But if today, her daughter could learn how to stand upright in her own heart, then tomorrow, other people's words might weigh just a little less. "My mom works at NASA," Anya Williams said. The whole class burst out laughing. It was a Tuesday morning, right after recess, and the room still smelled faintly of hand sanitizer and eraser shavings. Ms. Teresa Blake had just finished roll call and clapped her hands. Time for our "What Do Your Parents Do?" presentations. One by one, students stood up. Some talked about dads who were firefighters, moms who baked at the corner shop, or even older brothers in the military, even if not a parent, still met with cheerful applause. Then came Anya's turn. She stood, holding a small note card with her name written in purple ink. Anya was one of the quieter kids, smart, soft-spoken, never interrupting just to be heard. She glanced around the room, not at anyone in particular, and said clearly, "My mom works at NASA." Silence for a few seconds. Then a few giggles. Then laughter, not explosive at first, but the kind that ripples through a room, building as more kids caught each other's smirks. "NASA? Like space people?" someone in the back blurted out. "Liar," someone else muttered, just loud enough for Anya to hear. Even Ms. Blake looked caught off guard. She didn't laugh, but she raised her eyebrows, that subtle arch that said, "Really?"
Anya blinked slowly.
She didn't yell. She didn't storm out. She just stood there, face calm, hand steady. "Yes," she said again. "My mom is a systems engineer at NASA." The class fell quiet. Not because they believed her, but because they didn't know what else to say. Ms. Blake offered an awkward smile, the kind meant to move things along. "Thank you, Anya. All right, next is Dylan." Anya sat down. The whispers and giggles still hummed behind her. A couple kids nudged her chair as they passed, just enough to annoy. Her hand clutched the hem of her shirt. Her face stayed still, but her ears were flushed red. She knew they didn't believe her. Not Dylan. Not Ms. Blake. Not because the job sounded too big, but because of who had said it. A brown girl with neatly braided hair tied back with a pink ribbon. A worn-out backpack with a broken zipper. Shoes that weren't new. Not loud. Not cool like Sophia or Lila. To them, it sounded like make-believe. A scrap of paper landed on her desk. Jordan leaned over and said, "Your mom works there, cleaning floors?" Anya didn't respond. She didn't cry. Not then. But when the final bell rang and everyone scrambled to grab their bags, she stayed seated. Eyes fixed on the classroom door. For the first time, Anya wished her mom had a job that was easier to believe. A job people didn't look up at as if she'd made it up. But her mom once told her, "Some truths are too big for small minds. Our job is to live them, until those minds grow enough to understand." Anya stood, walked out of the room with her head held high, even as her stomach knotted like stone. She didn't feel ashamed of herself. She felt sorry, for those who weren't big enough to see the truth. The house Anya and her mother shared sat at the end of a quiet street in Huntsville, Alabama. Not big, not fancy, but always tidy and full of light.
Pale yellow walls, white framed windows, silver grey shingle, and a wind shimmed that sans softly when the breeze swept through the porch.
Anya pushed open the door. The familiar creak of the hinges greeted her. She took off her shoes, dropped her backpack at the foot of the stairs, and walked straight into the kitchen. The smell of sautéed garlic and ginger filled the air. Dr. Maya Williams, her mother, stood at the stove, stirring a pot of soup with a wooden spoon, still in her work blouse with the sleeves rolled up. "You're home early," Anya said quietly. "And you're home late," her mom replied, not accusing, just noting. Anya pulled out a chair and sat down, resting her chin in her hand. After a moment, she said, "They laughed. The whole class. When I said you work at NASA." Maya turned off the stove. She turned around and faced her daughter, not alarmed, not angry. Just still, waiting to hear more. One of them said, "Maybe you clean floors there." Anya looked down at her hands. I didn't say anything back. The teacher moved on quickly. Like I was interrupting. Maya took a deep breath. Not a sigh, just to stay steady. Then she asked, "Do you think you did something wrong?"
Anya shook her head hard. No.
I told the truth. Maya nodded. She'd expected that answer. But what Anya needed now wasn't comfort, it was grounding. "Then don't carry someone else's ignorance on your back," Maya said. Her voice wasn't loud, but each word landed like a hook, firm, unshakable.
IJV.
Anya didn't respond, but something in her eyes cleared, a haze of doubt, a flicker of self-worth that had been rattled. After a pause, Maya softened her tone. "When I was in high school, the guidance counselor told me not to apply for engineering. Said those classes were for white boys, and I should try secretarial work. Less of a strain." Anya looked up. "What did you say?" "I didn't say anything. I just stopped going to her office." They both laughed. Anya's was soft, Maya's full and knowing, as if she'd wrapped a memory inside the moment. "Do you want me to come to career day?" Maya asked. "Your teacher mentioned it's this Friday."
Anya essays widened. You dey come.
Maya ladled soup into a bowl, grinning. "Yes. Though I'm torn, should I wear that black blazer you hate, or the giant NASA badge so the whole class sees it?" Anya bounced in her seat. "Both. Wear both, Mom." "Knew you'd say that," Maya said, pretending to groan. They laughed again, this time fully, freely, like no one had ever questioned a thing. During dinner, Maya told stories about her first interview, and that time she spilled coffee on an unmanned drone prototype. Anya didn't just laugh, she asked questions. And she no longer felt the need to hide anything. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," Maya said as they cleared the table. "But if you ever want to, I'll be right there, ready to walk in and silence the room." Anya nodded, blushing a little. "But make sure that badge is really big." Maya smiled, tapping her chest.
Badgir.
"Chest here."
NASA, Reichtier.
Friday arrived faster than Anya expected. In the 3 days leading up to it, she hadn't told anyone her mom was coming, not out of shame, but because she wanted them to see for themselves, not just hear it. That morning, the classroom had been rearranged. Ms. Lawson had pushed the desks into a U-shape and placed a tray of supermarket cookies on the table. She wore a purple blouse and light lipstick, trying to strike a balance between formal and friendly. Anya sat in the middle of the right row, her backpack tucked neatly under her chair. In her pocket, she gripped an old hair clip, not to use, just to hold onto something steady. Parents began arriving.
A Manin a Mechanikes uniforme.
A nurse. A mother in a long skirt with a Starbucks cup and a bright, practiced smile. Everyone smiled. The sharing session began. A dad talked about plumbing and how one leaky faucet turned a kitchen into a swimming pool. The class roared. A mom shared about teaching kids yoga. They can't stand yet, but we're already teaching them to breathe. More laughter. Anya didn't laugh. She just kept watching the door. Every time it opened, she held her breath. And then, just as Ms. Lawson was introducing the next parent, the door opened. Dr. Maya Williams walked in.
A sleek black blazer.
A large, gleaming NASA badge hung from her neck. Slacks.
Low-heeled shoes. No lipstick. No earring.
Just the calm of someone used to entering rooms where no one expected her first. The room fell completely silent.
Anya stood up.
"This is my mom."
Dr. Maya Williams. No one logged.
Ms. Lawson fumbled for a second, then gave a stiff nod.
Ah, welcome, Dr. Williams.
Would you like to share a little about your work? Maya smiled, just enough, then nodded.
Hello, everyone.
I work at NASA. I'm an aerospace systems engineer. My job is to design, test, and manage the systems that help astronauts live, work, and return home safely, from Earth to the Moon and beyond. A few small hands froze mid-air. A pencil dropped to the floor. Someone whispered, "Wait, what?" She continued, "I didn't come here to show off. I came because my daughter told the truth, and some of you didn't believe her. That's okay. People often don't believe things they're not used to." She stepped to the whiteboard and pinned up a colored technical diagram, a cross-section of a lunar module's pressurization system. You don't need to understand all of this. But next time someone says something that sounds too big, take a moment before you laugh. Because talent doesn't always look like what you see in movies. Then she turned to Anya. When someone tells the truth with pride, don't ask them to shrink it.
Let it stand. Let it stand tall.
No one spoke.
No one logged.
Only silence, and the wide eyes of children realizing, maybe for the first time, that what they had laughed at was the truest thing in the room. When Dr. Williams took a seat beside Anya, no one laughed.
No one whispered.
The room felt still, like someone had turned a mirror toward the crowd, and for the first time, everyone saw themselves in it. The remaining parents went on with their presentations. One spoke about managing a car dealership, another about selling insurance. Their work mattered, of course. But something had shifted. Everything that came after felt quieter, dimmer, not because it was lesser, but because it followed something that had made the entire room stop, not from fear, but from reverence. After class, Anya packed up her books. Her hand brushed gently against her mother's NASA badge, still swinging from the lapel of the black blazer. She didn't say anything. Maya simply smiled, rested a hand lightly on her daughter's back for a brief moment, and walked out of the classroom, as if she'd just wrapped up another routine systems briefing. But nothing about it was routine. At recess, a small cluster of kids gathered around Anya, not pushing, not loud.
Just curieux.
Kennedy stepped forward first, scratching his head awkwardly. "Hey, your mom today was, like, really cool." Anya didn't answer right away. She just nodded slightly, as if to say, "I know." Samira chimed in. "I went home and Googled NASA after that. They've got this robot named
Persévérance. Anya smiled. Notidin animor.
That's one of the projects my mom worked on." The kids didn't interrupt.
No one logged.
For the first time, no one asked, really. They only asked, "So what did she do with that robot?" And just like that, the story began to change. Would you like the next scene to follow Anya sharing more with her classmates, or jump ahead to a later moment, perhaps a school assembly, or a conversation between Maya and Ms. Lawson? Anya sat in the middle of the schoolyard, her friends gathered around like she was the centerpiece of a documentary, though she didn't realize it. But this time, the questions didn't come with raised eyebrows or doubtful smirks. They asked because they genuinely wanted to understand. Where did that robot go? Is Mars really red? How can someone on Earth control it from so far away? Anya answered each one, her eyes lighting up every time she mentioned her mother's work. Her voice wasn't loud, didn't strain to convince, because this time, they already believed her. And as she spoke, she realized something. She wasn't speaking to prove her mother was extraordinary. She was speaking to share a world no one had ever given her the chance to open before. That afternoon, during math class, she raised her hand twice. Not to show off, but because she wasn't afraid to be wrong anymore. Miss Holland, the teacher who used to overlook her quiet eagerness, nodded to her immediately, as if a new reflex had just been built. And when Anya answered correctly, someone clapped softly. Not loudly, but just enough for her to hear. Just enough to know things had changed. After school, when she got home, she dropped her backpack and ran into the kitchen. Maya was reheating dinner, still in her work clothes. "I know what you're going to say," Maya said with a grin. Anya laughed out loud. "I'm not sure you'll guess all of it." She told her everything, every look, every question, every moment she felt seen. Maya stayed quiet through most of it, smiling. When her daughter paused to catch her breath, Maya placed a hand gently on her shoulder. You see, sometimes people don't believe you, not because they're bad, but because they've never heard something like that from someone like you. The problem was never that you were wrong. They just weren't ready to be right. Anya paused for a moment, then nodded. Inside her, something shifted into place. Not pride. Not relief. But steadiness. That evening, Anya sat down to draw. Not landscapes or cartoons like before, but a schematic, something that resembled a broadcasting station, with solar panel wings, and a bold caption underneath. Future Transmission Hub, a message for the unheard. Maya passed by, glanced at the drawing, and chuckled. Planning to transmit that where, exactly? Not sure, maybe to the classroom. Or to anyone who thought I was lying.
Ah.
For the ones who think they already know everything. Exactly, Anya nodded. Outside, a light rain fell. But inside the room, both were wrapped in something warmer than light, something invisible, trust restored. The next morning, something small happened. While lining up to enter class, Ethan, the boy who once mocked her with the nickname NASA Girl, awkwardly handed her a magazine. On the cover was an image of a satellite orbiting Saturn.
Anya blinked.
What's this? Ethan didn't meet her gaze. My dad left it on the table. I saw an article about remote control systems. Like what your mom talked about the other day. Thanks. He nodded, then walked off.
No επάλεγει. No explanation.
But to Anya, the gesture meant more than an apology. It was a sign. Someone was starting to listen. Later that day, Miss Holland announced the new essay topic, a job you admire and why. Anya didn't hesitate. She wrote about those who quietly operate the world from afar. She didn't mention her mom's name. She didn't need to. The essay wasn't written to make others believe. It was written so the girl inside her would remember. What's true is always true, even when no one claps. The following week, Anya walked into class feeling different, lighter, steadier. Not because someone had offered a formal apology, but because she no longer needed one to feel worthy. At recess, Madison, the girl who had laughed the loudest during the presentation, walked past and stopped. Anya, she said hesitantly. I talked to my dad. He works at a satellite company. He said your mom's job is really complicated. Anya simply nodded. Yeah. It's impressive too, Madison added, still not quite looking her in the eye. Thanks, Anya replied. There was no dramatic hug.
No cinematic reconciliation.
But it was a change, small, real, and significant. That afternoon back home, she pulled out last week's drawing. She adjusted a few lines, then added a new sentence. Sometimes, a message doesn't need to travel far. It just needs to reach the right person, at the right moment. Maya walked in, grocery bag in hand. Designing something new again?
Anya smiled.
Not exactly new. Just rebroadcasting. But this time, they're starting to listen. Maya set the bag down, unpinned her NASA badge from her coat, and hung it beside the fridge, not to show off, but as a quiet reminder. The truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to stand still. Until the world grows up enough to see it. That Friday was the end-of-year celebration. Each student received a copy of the 5th grade yearbook, complete with photos, highlights, and a special section. What will this student do in the future? Under Anya Nguyen's picture, one line appeared, not scribbled like usual, but printed neatly and clearly. Might be the first person to design a spacecraft to take humans to Mars. Anya stared at the line. Not because it felt far-fetched, but because someone in her class had believed it. She looked up. On the stage, her teacher was speaking, the light casting a gentle glow on her silver-streaked hair. When a student says something bold, the teacher said, we have two choices. We can call it a fantasy, or help them make it real. Her gaze landed on Anya, and for the first time, it truly saw her. That afternoon, when Anya got home, she taped the photo and printed caption next to her satellite design. Right beside an older message she had written. You don't need others to believe from the start. As long as you never stop believing. Maya passed by, smiling as she saw it. This one, she said, deserves a frame. Anya grinned, eyes gleaming.
No need for a frame. Allons à it never j'ai torn down.
Because now, no one laughs when she says, "My mom works at NASA." And more importantly, she no longer lowers her head when she says it. Later that summer, Anya received an invitation to a prestigious technical summer camp hosted by a major university, one that only selected 20 students nationwide.
The letter read.
We were deeply moved by your essay. How to be heard when they think you're too small to say something that matters. Anya folded the letter gently and set it on her desk. There, her half-finished drawing of a thermal-guided satellite system still waited. Beside it was a small photo of a girl proudly holding up her schematic in front of the class, with her mother smiling quietly behind her. Her mom hadn't needed to speak that day. She just had to be there. A week later, as Anya boarded the bus leaving Mobile for camp, a former classmate messaged her. Don't forget to send pics from NASA. Not to brag.
Just so we know.
Someone actually made it. Anya didn't reply. She just smiled, leaned her head against the window, and thought of all the kids like her, who had once been laughed at for dreaming big. And she quietly promised.
Your turn will come. We don't need permission to dream big.
And neither do you. Because this isn't just a story about NASA. It's a story about voice. About presence. And about those who dare to stand tall when the world tells them to sit down.